before you can rise in life, you must first win the war that no one else can see, the battles in your mind, the quiet storms in your thoughts, the questions, the doubts, the fears. Many people look strong on the outside, but inside they're exhausted. Today, I came to remind you that you were created with the power to stand tall in the middle of pressure. You were built with a mind that doesn't have to break. Family, let me talk to you for a moment. Your mind is the steering wheel of your life. Where it turns, you turn. What it believes, you become. Most people spend their whole lives trying to fix the outside, while the real struggle is going on within. If you can master your mind, you can master anything. If you can stay strong in your thoughts, you can stay strong in your journey. Mental strength isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about choosing how you respond when life tries to shake you. Today, we're going to lift your thinking, strengthen your spirit, and help you take control of the inner world that shapes everything else. When you learn to guard your thoughts, you begin to take back territory that life has tried to steal from you. Every idea, every memory, every worry that enters your mind has the potential to shape the direction of your day. Some thoughts lift you, some weaken you, some remind you of your purpose. Others whisper things that pull you away from it. You can't stop thoughts from showing up, but you can decide which ones get to stay. This is where mental strength begins. Your mind is like a house. You don't leave your front door wide open for anyone to wander in. You pay attention to who you allow inside because their presence affects the atmosphere. Your thoughts work the same way. If you let fear walk in and put its feet up, it will settle in and start calling the shots. If you let old mistakes remind you of what you used to be, they will dim the confidence you need to become who you're meant to be. Guarding your thoughts means paying attention to the mental guests you've allowed to take up space. This doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness. Too many people wake up and hand their day over to whatever thought screams the loudest. One bad memory, one negative comment, one anxious idea can twist your whole attitude before you even realize what happened. When you guard your thoughts, you pause before you accept them. You ask yourself if this thought is helping you or hurting you. You learn to separate assumptions from truth. You stop feeding what drains you. Guarding your thoughts also means watching what you expose yourself to. Your mind absorbs more than you notice. Conversations, media, past experiences, and unspoken fears can shape your thinking without your permission. When you become intentional about what you consume, you begin to strengthen the mental filter that protects your peace. You start replacing noise with clarity and distraction with purpose. Over time, guarded thoughts create a steady mind. A steady mind creates a steady life. You think with more direction. You react with more patience. You speak with more certainty. You stop being tossed around by every pressure that comes your way. When your thoughts are protected, your growth becomes possible. Your confidence becomes real. Your purpose becomes clearer. You begin to lead your life instead of being led by your fears. That is what it means to guard your thoughts. Challenging your inner voice begins with recognizing how much power it has over the way you move through life. Everyone hears that quiet commentary in the background of their mind. Some of it is encouraging, but much of it has been shaped by old wounds, old failures, or old opinions that were never yours to carry. That voice can become so familiar that you start believing everything it says. Even when it speaks against your potential, mental strength grows when you stop letting that voice run unchecked and start directing it with intention. Your inner voice is often the first to speak when you're facing something new. It tells you what you can't do, what might go wrong, what people might think. It reminds you of the times you stumbled, but it never mentions the times you stood back up. If you don't challenge that voice, it becomes the ceiling you live under. You'll think you're being realistic when you're actually repeating fears that don't belong to you anymore. When you push back and question those thoughts, you open the door to growth. Challenging your inner voice doesn't mean silencing it. It means confronting it with truth. When doubt tells you you're not ready, you remind yourself of the progress you've made. When fear tells you you'll fail, you bring up the strength you showed the last time life tried to break you. When insecurity whispers that you're not enough, you answer with the reality of everything you've already overcome. This isn't pretending, it's correcting a voice that's been echoing outdated stories. Over time, you begin to shift the tone of that voice. Instead of being your critic, it becomes your guide. Instead of tearing you down, it starts to push you forward. The mind learns through repetition. So the more you speak with clarity and confidence, the more your inner dialogue adjusts. You're not forcing positivity, you're teaching your mind to speak with accuracy instead of fear. When your inner voice is challenged, your decisions become bolder. You take steps you once avoided. You stop shrinking yourself to fit old narratives and start moving like someone who knows they can grow. You begin to trust your judgment. Trust your ability, trust your resilience. The world around you doesn't have to change for your life to shift. Sometimes the biggest transformation begins when you correct the small, quiet messages happening inside you. That is how you reclaim your power and take back authority over your own mind. Focusing on what you can control brings your mind back to solid ground. Life will always hand you moments that feel unpredictable or unfair, and the natural reaction is to tighten your grip on everything around you. But the more you try to control what isn't yours to manage, the more drained and scattered you become. Mental strength grows when you stop pouring energy into things that won't change no matter how hard you push, and start investing that energy into the parts of your life that respond to your effort. You can't control what people think of you, but you can control how you show up. You can't control every challenge that appears, but you can control your preparation and your response. You can't control the timing of opportunities, but you can control your readiness. When you shift your attention toward your choices, your habits, and your attitude, you give yourself room to breathe. You reclaim the power to move forward without being held hostage by circumstances. This shift doesn't happen overnight. Most people spend years trying to manage everything around them because it feels safer than accepting uncertainty. But uncertainty isn't the enemy. It's the reminder that life will move with or without your permission. When you focus on what you can control, you stop fighting the current and learn to navigate it. You stop resisting every change and start adjusting with intention. That adjustment is where real strength begins to form. When you concentrate on your actions instead of outcomes, frustration starts to fade. You no longer measure your value by things outside your reach. You measure it by your consistency and your choices. This creates a steadiness that doesn't crumble every time something unexpected happens. You become calmer under pressure because you're not trying to win battles that were never yours. You stay grounded because your mind isn't pulled into every direction by things that don't deserve that much of you. Over time, this kind of focus shapes your confidence. You learn to trust yourself because you're no longer scattered. You're clear, you're intentional, you're anchored. Life still throws challenges, but they no longer break your rhythm. You handle what's yours and release what isn't. You stop wasting energy on trying to change people or outcomes, and you start building a life that strengthens you from the inside out. This is how mental strength grows, not by controlling everything, but by choosing what matters and letting the rest pass without stealing your peace. Building habits that strengthen your mind is one of the most practical ways to shape a stronger life. You can't rely on motivation alone because motivation rises and falls. What holds you steady is what you do repeatedly, especially on the days when you don't feel inspired. Your habits become the quiet builders behind your confidence. They train your mind to think with order, to move with direction, and to stand firm when life tries to pull you off balance. A strong mind isn't formed in a single breakthrough moment. It's formed in small, consistent choices. It's formed when you decide to start your morning with intention instead of chaos. It's formed when you slow down long enough to think before you react. It's formed when you choose patience over impulse, clarity over confusion, and progress over perfection. These little decisions add up. They create patterns, and those patterns shape the way your mind handles pressure. The habits you build send signals to your mind about the kind of person you're becoming. When you keep your word to yourself, even in simple things, your mind starts to trust you. When you follow through on your plans, your mind learns that you're dependable. When you give your time to practices that build you instead of drain you, your mind learns what stability feels like. This internal trust becomes the foundation of mental strength. Developing these habits also teaches your mind discipline. Discipline isn't punishment, it's structure. It keeps you from being tossed around by every emotion or distraction. It helps you stay rooted in what matters. Even on difficult days, your habits carry you forward. They remind you of your direction. When your feelings try to pull you elsewhere, you stop waiting for the perfect moment to grow because your habits make growth automatic. Over time, these habits start to transform the way you think. You see challenges differently because your mind is trained to look for solutions. You handle stress differently because your mind is used to staying steady. You speak to yourself differently because your mind has experienced what consistency can create. You stop approaching life from a place of chaos and start approaching it from a place of strength. This is how mental strength is built, not in loud moments, not in dramatic changes, but in steady practices that shape your thinking day by day. When your habits support your growth, your mind becomes a place of clarity, resilience, and direction. You begin to move through life with a sense of control that comes from the inside out. Standing firm in adversity is one of the clearest signs of a strong mind. Anyone can be confident when life is smooth, but true strength shows up when the pressure rises and the path gets uncertain. Adversity exposes what you believe about yourself. It brings your doubts to the surface, but it also reveals the resilience you didn't know you had. When you learn to stay grounded in the middle of difficulty, you begin to understand that your mind can carry far more than you once imagined. Hard moments test you in ways comfort never will. They push you to confront your limits, your fears, and your expectations. It's easy to look at adversity as punishment, but many times it's preparation. It sharpens your thinking. It forces you to slow down, to reflect, and to reevaluate. You start to see what matters and what doesn't. You learn to separate noise from truth and emotion from direction. This kind of clarity can only be learned in the middle of struggle. Standing firm doesn't mean pretending you're not affected. It means you don't let the storm decide your identity. You don't let a difficult season rewrite your worth. You don't allow temporary pressure to define your future. You take a breath, gather yourself, and choose to stay present. You remind yourself that challenges are moments, not final destinations. You may feel shaken, but you don't collapse. You may feel stretched, but you don't surrender. When you stand firm, your mind learns endurance. You start recognizing that you've survived challenges before and you can survive them again. You look back at the times you thought you wouldn't make it and realize you did. That memory becomes fuel. It teaches your mind that pressure doesn't break you, it grows you. Each trial becomes evidence that you are stronger than your fears have been telling you. Adversity also reveals your capacity for adaptation. You learn to adjust your strategy without abandoning your purpose. You find new ways to move forward when old methods stop working. You become more flexible, more creative, and more patient with yourself. These qualities strengthen your mind in ways success never could. Success feels good, but adversity builds you. Over time, standing firm becomes a mindset. You stop running from pressure and start navigating it with confidence. You trust your ability to respond even when you can't predict the outcome. You step into challenges with the understanding that growth is happening beneath the surface. And when the storm passes, you come out clearer, steadier, and more grounded in who you are. Staying connected to uplifting people is one of the most powerful ways to strengthen your mind. No matter how disciplined or focused you are, the people around you will always influence the way you think, speak, and respond to life. You absorb their energy, their attitudes, and their expectations. When you surround yourself with people who encourage growth, who speak with clarity, and who challenge you to rise, your mind becomes sharper and your spirit becomes steadier. You start to think bigger because you're connected to people who see more in you than you sometimes see in yourself. There are moments when your own thoughts feel heavy, and that's when the right voices make a difference. A supportive circle doesn't just cheer for you. They remind you of your strength when you forget it. They speak truth when your fears get loud. They help you see the path when your vision gets foggy. These are the people who don't let you talk yourself out of your potential. Their presence alone can shift the direction of your thinking. Connection doesn't mean depending on others to carry you. It means allowing others to contribute to your growth. Strong relationships create stability. They give you a safe place to express your doubts and process your challenges without judgment. When you're surrounded by people who believe in honesty and growth, you learn to think more clearly because you're no longer trying to navigate everything alone. You gain new perspectives. You gain wisdom you didn't earn the hard way. Your mind becomes richer because it's fed by more than your own experiences. Being connected to uplifting people also teaches you something important, the value of accountability. When you drift off track, the right people don't let you stay there. They don't criticize you. They guide you. They remind you of the direction you said you wanted. This kind of accountability strengthens your discipline and keeps your thinking aligned with your purpose. It prevents you from slipping into old habits that weaken your mind. Over time, you begin to notice how much lighter life feels when you're connected to people who are growing too. Your conversations shift, your mindset shifts, your standards shift. You stop tolerating environments that drain you because you've tasted what a healthy circle feels like. And when you feel strong, you become a source of strength for others. Your stability encourages their growth. Your clarity sharpens their thinking. The cycle continues. This is how community shapes mental strength, not by overpowering your voice, but by lifting it, not by replacing your confidence, but by reinforcing it. When you stay connected to uplifting people, your mind stands taller, your spirit stays steady, and your path becomes clearer. You rise higher because you're not rising alone. As we close today, I want you to carry this truth with you. Your mind is your most powerful tool, and it is yours to master. Life will test you. Challenges will come. Doubts will whisper. But the strength to rise above it all has always been inside you. Guard your thoughts. Challenge the voice that doubts you. Focus on what you can control. Build habits that shape your mind. Stand firm in adversity. Surround yourself with people who lift you higher. Every step you take in strengthening your mind is a step toward freedom, clarity, and purpose. You are capable of more than you realize, and the life you dream of begins with the way you think today. Choose strength, choose focus, choose growth, master your mind, and there will be nothing in this world that can stop you from becoming the person you were created to be. Thank you.